Hi everybody and welcome to Dublin Tech Talks in association with Workhuman. It's Gavin Fox here. On this episode we are speaking to co-founder and CEO of ID-Pal, Colum Lyons. Very interesting story with where ID-Pal is, founded around 2015 and to its journey now with a recent funding round. So we talked to Colum about the business journey, his journey and what the next number of years of ID-Pal is going to look like. Hope you enjoy. Colum Lyons, CEO and founder of ID-Pal. Welcome to Dublin Tech Talks.
Thank you very much, Gavin. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's great. Big commute for you for the studios.
Yeah, literally 90-second walk. So it's great.
So I think we met about 4 or 5 years ago when you were starting to recruit or along those lines. Lots happened since. So do you want to talk us through about what ID-Pal is and where you are at the moment?
Yeah, very different obviously to 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So we were founded in 2016. So literally myself and a couple of others got together trying to figure out the problem of identity verification. So I'm sure we're all familiar with it. You know, we've all set up bank accounts and you know, accountancy firms and law firms, they all require it. So yeah, basically, just the whole concept and idea was that it's bureaucratic, it's paper-based, it's you know, it's not from a regulatory point of view, it's not really that robust. So the idea was to create something that you could sit in the comfort of your own home and just verify who you are to any business. So what we did was we built a mobile app, and the mobile app allows you to kind of take a picture of the document, your identity document, passport, driver's license, look into the camera, we'll analyse your face, prove you're a real person, so not a photo, or video, and then match your face to the face that's in the document. So again, very, very easy, very, very simple. It'll take you less than 30 seconds to do it. But from a regulatory compliance point of view, it's far stronger and far better than that kind of paper-based way of doing things. So that was the kind of the concept and the model. And by doing it that way, it also brought a lot of efficiencies to a business. So you have the end user trying to verify their identity. They're a winner in this case. Yeah. You have the compliance departments and the regulator is also a winner. And then you have the business itself from an operational point of view. So you're kind of covering, you're keeping everyone happy in that kind of regard. But we kind of, the first, I suppose, year and a half was really trying to figure out what we were doing and how we were doing it. And we got a lot of nice breaks over the first year and a half, 2 years. We got a lot of recognition, Silicon Republic calling us out as a startup to watch and different things like that. So we took in a few people at the very, very start, someone from product, someone from customer experience, someone from sales. But I think by the time we met you, Gavin, we were maybe 7, 8, 9 people. Yeah. And since then, we're now 38. We've another kind of 3 roles to fill by the end of this year, and another 15 next year. So we'll hit that 50 mark very, very, very quickly. But it's been an unbelievable journey. Like, it's been absolutely incredible. Yeah. And I think one of the amazing things for me is in terms of staff, right, and recruitment, and everyone kind of talks about that. And obviously recruitment, given your own background, is a key thing. We've only ever lost 2 staff in 6-7 years, right? Yeah. Which I think is a testament to the culture that we tried to build. And that for me is a real.
I'd love
real
to unpack the culture bit later, but an obvious question, just as someone let's say I've never heard of verification before. Yeah. This seems like a problem that should have been solved before, right? Like, were you early to this, or what? How did you? What was unique to your approach to solving this problem, do you think?
Yeah, so I think identity verification isn't new, right? And it's a regulatory requirement for regulated businesses. Yeah. And I think when we started it in 2015, 2016, it was very much about regulated businesses, and that's all it was about. It was very young, so there's definitely competition out there, right? So I won't lie and say that we're the only ones out there.
You can say you're the best, though.
There is.
That's fine.
I'll let you say we're the best. So there's plenty of competition, right? We have a different approach to it, to how a lot of the rest of the competition actually approach it. So now we're in a world where whether it doesn't matter what you're doing in life, you need to verify your identity, right? So if you want to rent a car, if you want to buy a house, if you want to buy a horse, all those different things, now dating websites, everything is now like, you need to be able to kind of prove this is a genuine person, this is who you're dealing with. You know, we've heard of all those stories that are there. So, you know, the business where everyone kind of sees it as very much a financial services product, it is, and you know, 85-90% of our businesses are heavy regulated FS products, but we're getting more and more companies from more diverse type of industries using the product. And I would kind of see it a bit like, so, you know, when the iPhone came out, it's flashy and it's cool and it's really, really great and everyone thought this is amazing. And then within 6, 8, 10 years, it was like, well, we've always had the iPhone, right? And it's that kind of idea. Identity verification in the form that we're doing it, so the digital identity verification is a bit like that. So I still believe that we're very, very early. You know, and the world is only adapting to it. You know, if you were to look at the percentage of businesses that are actually using a digital identity verification service, it's very, very small. It's in single digits.
Really?
So it's just a growing market.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
You know, so
I use it for the first time with one of the credit unions.
Oh yeah,
and it was. I'll give you a kudos. It was really simple. Yeah, like. Even with a bit of a smashed camera on the front, it was easy enough to, and it was done in, I think, about 10 minutes. I got the email back to say we're good to go. Thanks.
And that's one of the differentiators, I think, between ourselves and what the early competition is doing. So we classify what we do as real-time verification. So it happens instantly. So when you capture your document, you're getting instant notification on that. Where what a lot of the competition do is they might have a nice capture mechanism, but when it comes in, it actually ends up going out to a back office where it has to be manually reviewed, and that's introducing people. Well, it's prone to error, but it's introducing time, right? So, you know, we're in a world today where everyone wants results straight away. They don't want to hang around. They don't want to wait. If you're waiting 24 hours or 7 days for something to come back, you know, you get frustrated. You know,
and I remember Robert saying that to me. It's like this technology is brilliant.
It's all about real time. It's all about real time. But I think it's interesting that you so around 75% of Irish people, so we're very much, we classify ourselves as a global company now, but around 75% of the Irish working, you know, kind of 18 to 65 population have used us, which is incredible, right?
That is incredible
at this stage. So, you know, even yesterday, I was. It's quite cool going to a meeting where someone says, "Oh yeah, I've used you," and here our app is sitting on their mobile device. So it's a nice feeling, you know.
And is that the type of thing that motivates you then as a founder? Is it that, you know, seeing your work in motion in the real world?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that motivate me and motivate a founder. I think definitely watching something grow like that. You know, and even I was always involved in sports, right? I was all involved in sports that included teams.
It's the only other county that tells you where they're from.
But for me, it was always about teams, right? So I never really played any sports that was I was on my own.
Likewise,
so I was always about the team, the team. And I think that's kind of, and it kind of goes back to that culture thing. It's about watching everyone grow and the team growing and the product growing. You know, but there's definitely satisfaction of, you know, driving through the city and seeing a credit union or an accountancy firm or a real estate firm and just going customer. That's quite cool, you know.
For sure.
But it has to be a good experience, right? So, you know, and we get a lot of positive feedback, so it's great.
Cool. Where did the idea come from? Because was it your background? Who kind of? Yeah,
so like my own background is all financial services.
And you just saw this was a space that wasn't.
Yeah, I was just frustrated, right? So I was working in a stockbroking firm, and again, this is 2015, so everything is manual. You know, the world was different even kind of 7 years ago. And I was in the early days, and you know, people were trying to verify their documents with myself. As I was a broker, and I was setting up accounts for them. And it was just incredibly frustrating for them. It was incredibly frustrating for me. You know, and again, you're trying to get business done, right? And you have people that, I'm on holidays in Portugal, so you know, I can't post the documents in, I can't do this, and there's every manner of excuse, right? So, that was essentially where the idea came from. Is like, surely this can be easier, this can be simpler. Why can't they do it from Portugal? You know.
And it's funny when you say like the iPhone or whatever that way. Like when I'm asked for verification, it's like, okay, Like there's no, or here's my passport. I have my passport saved on my phone now, and I just
and we're used to it now.
I remember, and everybody years ago would be like, "You can't have my passport."
Yeah.
You have my PPS number. You can't have that. Now it's like, here, what do you want? Yeah. So it's really interesting, and
you sound like you're a phishing scam dream there, Gavin.
We won't go into that one. Yeah,
don't tell my wife that.
Oh, yeah, you can have that.
Yeah. Here's my phone. Here's my pins. When did you? I asked somebody earlier. Or I can't remember. It was Helen, I think. When did you realise you had a product? When was that kind of moment?
Yeah. So I think there's probably a few things to that, right? When I realised that there was a product in a business was probably we won an accelerator program in Amsterdam. Okay, called Startup Bootcamp. Myself and James were literally going to move to Amsterdam. We're going to move the whole business to Amsterdam, right? Because we're after winning an accelerator program. And at the very same time, within a matter of 2 weeks, we won Accenture Innovation Labs, which is based here in Dublin. James had left his job. I was still in full-time employment, so I was doing this on the side, really. So it was when we won those 2 awards, or those 2 accelerator programs, right at the same time, I was going, hold on, this is now, that for me was, even though the product wasn't built, that for me was like some other people who I would classify Startup Bootcamp as one of the best accelerators out there. Accenture, one of those big companies, they recognize something of what we're talking about, what we're doing. So there's something in this. And it was at that stage I went, right, I'm quitting my job. I left my job. There was absolutely no hesitation. We decided on Accenture because it was based in Dublin. Our client base, our network, we're all based here, and it was the better decision at the end of the day. But that was probably when we realised that there's something in this.
Did you get much out of the accelerator? Was it well worth it? Other people who are considering it?
Definitely. That was the Accenture don't do that accelerator in Ireland anymore, which is disappointing because I thought it was great. So and there's loads of people, like, again, there's so many people that have given us so much over the years, right? And for free, right? So like the Guinness Enterprise Centre gave us accommodation, office space for 6 months for nothing, So there was a lot of that. So from Accenture we got that, but we got connections into, I always call out Fexco. So Fexco, one of Ireland's great companies. Again, going back to they're a family, culturally, they're unbelievable business. They were kind of one of the mentors for us on that. Took us under their wing, took our product, brought it in, tested it, gave us feedback, really helped us along our journey. So there was loads of really good stuff we got out of that. There's also a guy that we met through that who's a big supporter of ours, a guy called Giles. And Giles has been a big supporter and has introduced us to so many people. So it was super. It was really good.
Is that a uniquely Irish thing, or do you think it's more just a startup community regardless of borders? Do you think Irish people are naturally inclined to help?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good at it. I don't have too much experience in other countries, so I couldn't really comment on that. But and I think there's a lot of, you read a lot about the Irish begrudgery, and no one likes to see someone doing well. I would say the complete opposite. From what I've experienced, and I try and give back as much as I can and everything as well. But from what I've experienced of Irish people within business, by and large, they've been absolutely super. And giving up their time, and you need to give it back, and pay it forward. I think that's really important. But
I think when somebody asks you for, do you know? I think we're pretty good at saying here, and here. Yeah, I think it's the begrudgery part is when you nearly go, how did they do that?
I
think that's more a community of builders, though, right? I mean, everyone has. There's a common kind of an intrinsic thing there about being a builder and wanting to grow.
I love seeing, especially Irish tech and doing well. I think it's brilliant. Been involved in the industry for 15 years, and it's some of the business that you see, they've done brilliantly.
I think that shared interest it could be the catalyst for wanting to help.
That's one of the reasons we started this. You've just been nosy and wanted to know more about the industry. That's if you're not nosy and want to know more about the industry and you work in it, it's like, why not? That's how I look at it.
I get people reaching out to me every week looking, could I grab half an hour? And I'm always saying yes. Do you know what I mean? So that's just the nature of it. I think, you got to do it.
You're just going to get a lot more reach outs now. Six more.
Six more.
Yeah. One for me, one for you.
And 4 randomers.
And 4 other people.
That Googled the wrong thing.
So I'd love to get into the culture piece, because we've come through like a pandemic, the Great Resignation, Great Reshuffle, all that stuff. And you've, as you said, you've maintained almost your whole cohort, your whole team. So what do you put that down to? I mean, you know, is it a conscious culture you've built, or is it just, you know, by default that you've attracted people that, you know, are all pulling in the same direction?
So I actually met someone on Friday. He was a previous boss of mine. His name is Michael O'Shea. He's now got his own new business called Pulse. And Michael had set up with another guy. Had set up a company called Delta Index. So they were a spread betting company. We're probably fairly well known within the financial services industry. I was one of the very early employees there. I was the 7th employee. And when I left, I think there was around 65. And we were talking about this on Friday night. Is that when it went from 20 staff over, there was a big change. Right? So it was like there's the tech department. There's the finance department, so everything was kind of, it was a different world, right? And I saw that, okay? And I think when building Delta, or when building IDPal, I always kind of talk about that, and with the other co-founders in the business, we talk about that. So we know that we need to make sure that doesn't happen, right? So there's loads of things that we do to make sure that there's, you know, cross-functional teams having time together, discussing things, you know, bringing people together, like even getting, and I think within the world, so you spend, and I kind of say this, right? So your bed, you sleep in your bed, you spend 8 hours. Well, I'd love to spend 8 hours in my bed, but you spend generally 8 hours in your bed, right? It's worth putting a few quid into your bed, because you're spending a lot of time there, right?
I'm a big Emma mattress fan.
Oh yeah,
just got to say that.
So it's, for me, it's the same thing. You're in work. You're spending a lot of your life in work. It's Monday to Friday. It's 9 to 5 or whatever it is. You need to know who you're working with. You need to know them outside of work. You need to be mates. You don't have to be best friends or anything, but you need to be able to say,
camaraderie is
how's the cat? How did it get on after that operation? Or you know, even like, and I think sport is a great thing, right? For that, because people are able to. It's a common ground. But even outside that, you know, so there's loads of things that we do to try and make sure that people cross over in that kind of way. Even like. You know, so there's two of the team that set up an internal newsletter, right? It's simple things like this. In the internal newsletter, it goes out every 2 weeks, and it's got generally 2 or 3 things on it. But one of them is about any new starters who comes in, they have to tell 2 truths and a lie. Yeah. Right?
Okay. Cool.
And then we're on our weekly kind of our weekly catch-up call, and we talk about it, and everyone's talking about it, and we're kind of asking that person questions, trying to figure out, you know, which is the lie. But you get to learn random things about that person, and it gets people interacting with each other. And there's loads of that stuff that we do.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. So we've just passed it. We're past 1,000 employees, so a different challenge, but it's about connecting people. And one of the things we had fun with this year was people put 2 or 3 things about themselves before their job title in their email signature when they start, and then, you know, everyone bought into it. But it just meant that before you speak to someone who's new in the business that you haven't spoken to before, or new cross-functional relationship, you're learning about them, and those conversation starters about, you know, who they are as a person. Have just made for way more kind of meaningful engagement.
Yeah, it's hugely important, because if you're in the context where you're working together and everything's just it's real kind of down the line. If you have a relationship with a person, you know, you're going to treat them in a better manner. It's not going to be kind of cutthroat, and you'll work for the right outcome. So I like culture for me is huge. You know, absolutely huge.
Good.
And as you grow.
That's a different problem.
Yeah, that's a whole different world. And I've seen businesses hire, and like simple things like not having enough milk in the fridge for, you know, and the, like say 20 starting that week or whatever, if you're scared, not having enough milk in the fridge, and the old employees go, oh, for fuck's sake, there's no milk. Like,
Well, of all the change over the last year, there was Lyons tea bags in the office yesterday instead of berries, and I lost my mind a little bit privately for 5 minutes until I worked through it.
But it is that probably any founders or anybody I speak to, that is the hardest part, is making sure the embedded culture keeps going, and the one bad hire.
There's there's different growth phases.
Yeah,
right?
it needs to evolve. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like all we can do is make sure that the phase that we're in at the moment, that we're really honing in on that, and that have the eye on the ball for the next phase.
Yeah.
You know, to sit here and kind of worry about when we're going to be 1,000 people, that kind of idea. You know,
you'll have a nice ivory tower by then.
It's too far. I'll never do the ivory tower, but yeah, and look at the world that we're in now. Like we've staff in Clifton, in Leitrim, in Carlow. RD, like they're everywhere. You know, it's that world. It's different now.
We'll talk about why you're scaling. So, I would deem it a success story. You're in all the awards, ticking all the award boxes, saying well done to all of them.
Yeah,
congrats and winning as well. You've got your funding.
Yeah,
massive congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What is the next? You're saying you're hiring again next year, but what is the 2.0 or the 3.0?
Yeah, so from a product perspective, and we're always very clear from a product perspective that we know what we do, right? And we don't intend to be, you know, that company that you come to for all these different types of products, right?
Yeah.
So from a product perspective, I think the product is incredible in how it works. For us, it's about that scale and that product in terms of into other countries. We did our official launch in the UK last March.
I saw that.
You know, and we've since hired our last 7-8 hires have been based in the UK. Again, no different to Ireland. We're in Nottingham, Newcastle, London, Manchester, Cardiff. You know, place like that. So again, it doesn't really matter where the person is based as long as they're the right fit for the business. And for me, it was about, you know, the decision in terms of where to next was based off the revenue of the business, right? So we got to a place where 15% of our revenue was now UK based. Okay, so we have customers, we've use cases, we've case studies, we've product market fit. We knew all that. So that's really good. We know where we're going third, the next place. I won't say where it is as of yet.
We don't scoop the exclusive. No.
You don't scoop the exclusive. But so it's about replicating what we've done in the Irish space and the Irish market. So, you know, I think we're in a place now where if you're in compliance, especially in financial services in Ireland, you probably know about us. If you don't, you're probably few and far between. You know, and we are in all those awards, and we're winning those awards, and that's all great. And we're getting that recognition, and it's about just replicating that in the next jurisdiction for us, which is the UK. And it's going really well so far. It's going really well. So
have you, like, you know, with some of the overscaling kind of outcomes that we've seen, has that changed your kind of, you know, kind of awareness or appreciation for being responsible, and or you know, have you altered your decision thinking on that at all? Or
so you have to be aware of it, okay, and you have to kind of, we assess everything all the time, right? So it's a moving beast. It's not this kind of, right, once a quarter we're going to assess and we're going to look back and see what changes we're making. It's constant, okay. Thankfully we've not had to change anything. I wouldn't put ourselves in the same type of category as some of those kind of, you know, those larger organizations. And if you look at their hiring over the last couple of years, it's been huge, you know. So
it's been astronomical.
It's been crazy, right? So like, there's a really positive story that should be told there, rather than this the negativity that's surrounding it. But we're a growing scaling company. We are incredibly lean. We have, you know, there's no fat within our business, and our revenue is growing at the rate that we expect it to grow.
And does that come from the first phase of the company where you got small seed, not much?
Yeah, so
and you kind of were revenue based growth, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was. So like at kind of in the early days, the company was built on a bit of investment, and then the rest was revenue. So, you know, we were never given a big check in our early days where we just went mad, you know, because I think that can happen. And, you know, I would also say, so all the founders of the business, we're all old fogey, right? We're not 22, and it's nothing against 22-year-old founders, but like, we have a lot. I always talk about scars. We have a lot of scars, right? Stuff has happened in the past. We've seen a lot of stuff, so we were wise to a lot of things, right? So, you know, budgets, costs, lean, all that kind of stuff was a huge thing for us. So there weren't many mistakes that were made along that journey. Whereas I think when you're 22, like, you don't know, you haven't experienced it, you know, and really, you know, you can read as much as you want and you can listen to as many things as you want. You have to experience these things to actually.
Do you remember that interview back in the day in Harvey Nash when somebody came in and said they're going to be the next CEO?
He's going to be CEO of a major international business in the next 5 years. Grad. And I said, oh, okay, how are you going to get there? No, it's not up to me. It's up to the company I choose to work for to create that path for me. Now we are sounding very old here. Let's
when you said that there, it's always the first thing that comes back to my mind is like coming out of college going, I'm basically your next CEO.
And just for other people, you know, thinking, you know, perhaps as a consequence of what's going on, you know, that forced entrepreneurship and thinking maybe I'll do my own thing. I'm assuming surrounding yourself with the right people at a board level is crucial to having to kind of sharing from their scars if you
of course
scars yourself.
So like we have you know, from a board level, we've really got people on our board, right? And again, they have more experience and they're able to share those experiences, but again, like, the decisions that you make, okay, I'm the CEO, right? And I've kind of got that final call, right? But the decisions you're making, you have to take into account everyone else's opinion, right? And I think when you do that, you generally end up in the right place, okay? I always say it's easy to make decisions, it's hard to make the right decision, right? And if you're listening to people around you and you're taking all that feedback, you know, and sometimes that may end up that, you know, from a decision-making process, it's a little bit slower, and that can kind of frustrate people. But I think
know what you don't know, like, right?
Yeah, exactly. And don't ever be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
When did you do your first external board hire? What level? What kind of stage when you went, I actually need a non-exec, or I need somebody sitting here that's going to do that?
So the guy that came in was a guy called Tim Murphy. So Tim is absolutely super. He's brilliant. Like, he's a wealth of knowledge. And he joined us in late 2018.
Okay.
So that was, you know, I won't say it steadied the ship, right? But it definitely helped, right? So himself and another guy came in as well. Just a guy called Paul Fawcett, and Paul just came on as an observer. At the time, he's still an investor in the business, but Tim is on the board. When he came in, you know, and definitely getting their experience in terms of how to grow, how to scale. Was absolutely.
I'm asking that as a selfish question as well. We're looking at getting maybe one or two externals just to give us that advice, because again, you only know what you know.
And I think there is a difference as well between board members and an advisory, right? And what I found might be controversial, right? But what I found is there's a lot of people who
You're choosing your words nicely here. I like
So they're coming to you, but not in your best interest, right? And not in the business best interest. And I think you just, as a founder, you need to be really, really careful of who you actually choose, right? So, you know, they're coming in looking for something for themselves, right? And I think we've been really cautious in who we've chosen, and I think we've whether you say we've got away with it, but we've done really, really well in choosing the right people, right? And those people who are giving us advice, kind of behind the scenes, even away from the board, are doing it because they want to, and they're doing it for the right reasons. Okay, so, you know, just to any kind of startup or new company, I would always say, you know, just be careful on the people who are giving you the advice. Also, take it as advice, take it on board, right? But at the end of the day, you know, everyone's got an opinion, but you got to pull it all together and kind of come up with what's the answer to that.
How much of that decision is evidence based, or, you know, a gut feeling?
There's definitely a lot of gut feeling. You know, there definitely is. But, you know, and it depends on what side of the business you're looking at, right? So, you know, if you're looking at from a product side and you have stats there and analysis there, you know, your gut doesn't really matter in that regard, because it's evidence and it's very, very clear. But there are certain things that your gut tells you I should power on with this, or I should hold off on this.
It's the same as term sheets and stuff like that. You have to be very careful in what you're signing, what you're looking at, and who you're talking to. Yeah,
no, definitely. The gut. I think your gut tells you a lot. Definitely.
Do you ever miss those days back in the bank?
Well, I was never in the bank. I was a trader. I was a proprietary trader for 6-7 years. I love those days. They were great. You know, it was fast. It was entertaining. I did okay. You know, I was definitely there's you know, I was kind of that middle of the road person. I wasn't terrible at it. I wasn't unbelievable at it. Yeah, no, I think it's funny where you end up, right? Because you know, a lot of people laugh at me and kind of say, "Oh, you went from like the fast-paced life of proprietary trading, where you're making loads of trades a day and you're in and out in a couple of seconds, to anti-money laundering, starting a business from scratch, KYC." It's like, oh, really? Is this really Colum Lyons?
Stopping people trading.
You know, stopping people trading, because they're not passing their KYC. So it's totally different, you know. And look, maybe that has come with age as well. You know, I don't know, but how I look at stuff is totally different to how I did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know.
It'd be weird if it wasn't, though, right?
Well,
I think we all know people that still think about 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but like from a business perspective, it is, and even my outlook on everything is totally different, you know. And even like just analysing absolutely everything, like really analysing things. Whereas, you know, 10 years ago, you're making a decision just to make a decision, and you know, just doing it. Where now it's totally different. I've responsibility, so I'm now married. I've got three boys. I've responsibility to them. I've now got 38 staff. I've responsibility to every one of them. So it's totally different. You know, we've got investors. I've responsibility to them. So it's not just, you know, people say, "Oh, it's great, you're CEO, you can make all the decisions." You can, but you've got to make the right. Going back to making the right decisions, right? And that responsibility to all those different parts of the business and the family and everything, that makes it way harder. That's why you don't make those, you know, really quick, okay, let's go. Because, you know, it's got to be the right decision.
What have you learned about yourself, say, as a leader or as a business owner over the last few years with all the challenges that came, you know, through all that
This
change?
has to be the last question.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very deep. What have I learned about myself? I'd ask what people would say about me. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Is there really something that I've learned about myself? Maybe look at that. You know, I always wanted to do something like this. I don't think maybe it's a case of I don't think it mattered what it was. Yeah, and that's kind of maybe the truth about it, right? It was something, right? Did I fall into this? Potentially I did, right, in a way, because that was an idea at a particular time. Could it have been something else? Yes, it could. Have I set up and started other businesses? Yeah, I have. Have they been successful? No, they haven't. So I think it was like, yeah, maybe this is what I've always wanted, and I think that's the bug that was in me, is to start something, build something, see it through, and watch it grow, you know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Well, I think that's quite evident. The three founders that we've met today, they've all been that. They had an idea and they've actioned it and it's been successful, but that's kind of what they wanted to do long term.
Yeah, so, it was always in there.
Yeah,
but I think it's important. It's not it's about the idea, but then it becomes about the product and the people and all those responsibilities.
The idea is only one thing.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's only one thing, and it's funny when I had the idea originally. A lot of people said to me, don't tell other people. I was like, no, I have to tell everyone, right? I have to tell everyone. Like, that's the complete opposite. No, somebody will steal it on you. Like, my view is 99.9% of people won't, because that's not what they want to do, right? They don't want to leave a comfortable job and set up a business and take time away from getting a salary and take all those risks, because it's a huge risk. It's massive and it doesn't always pay off. Right now with IDPal, it's paying off, which is great, and we're able to provide employment for 38 people and more to come, hopefully, and I love all that, and that's absolutely brilliant. But
yeah, well, congrats on it. It's going great, and long may it continue.
Thank you very much.
Colum Lyons, co-founder? Founder?
Whatever you want.
IDPal. Thanks for your time. It's a great story and continued success, and we hope to hear more.
Thanks very much, guys. Much appreciated. Cheers. Bye.
David here. Thanks again, folks, for joining us. There you have it. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to whatever platform you're engaging with the content on. You can also find us on LinkedIn. Also check out our meetup page, because we are getting back to in-person events. So we look forward to seeing you in person at one of them, or certainly bringing more content and telling some more stories from the tech scene in Dublin. Thank you.